everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm here for DEPHEMEREMBER, day number 16, using wings and labels or creating labels. So let's get started. So I had a few different thoughts about this before I got started. And so I, in the past, have made a lot of these kind of cute little labels. I stamp coffee dyed paper, and then I do some kind of a word snippet and sometimes add little collages on them. So I thought about these kind of things. And I was going to make like a sheet of labels today, but then I just sort of changed my mind because I feel like making just like a piece of ephemera. So I had watched Barbara's video, 49 Dragonflies, this morning, and it kind of inspired me a little bit to essentially want to create another piece of ephemera and some kind of a scene, because I think I need another piece like that for this collection. So I started looking through my books. I was looking for something that would be like a cute, like wild, you know, paper doll kind of thing. Like I have paper dolls and I certainly can put together paper dolls, but I wanted to get something that was sort of different. So I go to my my book collection that I cut up, and I have this one called Crazy Photography by Diane Rutex, and it's literally just very interesting photography, just really bizarre, you know, photography. And so I found my little one that I want to use here, and it's this little one. You know, he's dressed, he or she is dressed in a very kind of cold weather and wild feeling little outfit. You know, he's got little moccasins and the fur on the collar. So that's what I'm going to use for my little one. So I'll get this book out of the way. And then I needed an animal of some kind to add to this as well. So I went to my large book by Glenn Loates called A Brush with Life. It is a book of his art study, essentially. He paints beautiful nature, other things, but there's a lot of nature in this book. And so I wanted to pick an animal that would go with my little wild friend. And I also thought, let's pick an animal that hangs around in the winter time. And seeing as I'm Canadian, I had to choose the Canadian goose. So that's what we're going to go with. It's also a slightly different, you know, animal to choose. So that gets us our wings. We have wings. And I will just take this Post-it off of here. And then I will get rid of this big, beautiful book. I also thought I would implement a little bit of a rule of use something up today. So I had this photograph postcard that was inside the Crazy Photo book, and I think I'm going to make that kind of the size that the piece of ephemera is allowed to be. So yeah, that's gonna happen. Then I also wanted to come up with some kind of nice rusticy feeling backgrounds. So these are different cabbage dyed papers that I've dyed from actually large format encyclopedia. And then I have this piece of parchment that I've coffee and cabbage dyed, and it is quite crinkly and nice. So I think what I will start by doing is, first of all, I want to decide if I want to use a little bit of the text. I think that could add some nice background kind of element. So I also like this because I like the dots and I like the cool sky feeling that it gives, because, you know, it's a wintry feel. So let me grab some paper that I can glue on top of here. And then what I'll do, I think, is first just add a piece of this on top of here. And just kind of create our background. Okay. Then I definitely want some of that, but I think I need to decide if I would like to use, and I think I would, maybe some of the text. Kind of interesting. And it also just, I think, is an ode to the paper field, you know, like the paper reality of what we're making. I like to kind of bring a bit of a nod to the fact that, you know, I'm using books and paper to create these nature scenes. So it's nice to bring a little bit of text in, however I can. Yeah, I think it's okay to lie on. Okay. Okay. Then I wanted to use some of this crinkle, but what I think I will do first is cut out these images. Oh, I also have these little bits and bobs of things. This is from a book cover. It was sort of like a storytelling of what the book was about, and it says a thrilling adventure, and that's probably the label that I'm going to use in this. So I just want to fussy cut out our little one here, and I'm going to actually remove this or cover this section of a hockey stick that he's holding, because he or she is holding, because I'm just not looking to have that as an element. Okay. Then to decide what we want to do, we want to keep this baby maybe and have, maybe, yeah, he could be sitting right beside this little baby. Yeah. Okay. So I think I want to actually do a bit of tearing around the birds. And I think we're going to leave these little ducklings, or these little goslings over here. We don't need them. Okay. All right, now we're looking to kind of figure out what the size and the placement is going to be for this. Yeah, I think that will be what I want. So I'm just going to go around this and glue it. Knowing that I'm using glue stick, I'll be able to lift it up for a little bit if I want to put more things behind it, which I probably do. Here, yeah, okay. So now, actually I want to tear this section a little more. Just expose the paper core a little. Okay. Then a little of that there. And a little over here. Okay. All right, let's add our little one. So we want him to just be sitting sort of cozied up beside the baby here. The little gosling baby. Okay, now we'll glue down these collaged elements. now I need to add some ink to this because I need all this white to go away. Okay. Now we need to add a few more things. So first I want to think a little bit about this element, a thrilling adventure. Because I feel like if you were a child and you were hanging out with these geese, that you would be on a thrilling adventure, because I don't know if you are familiar with geese, Canada geese, but they're very feisty birds. I'm just wondering if this label's a little bit too big. And if I'd instead want to use something like magical things, but I don't know, does that count as a label or a word snippet really? Let's try to make use of this. I also have a few more of these kind of elements that this black and sort of gold. I wonder if I can lift this again. This glue stick is pretty enduring, so we'll see. Oh, okay, it will let me. I like that idea. Just think I need a little bit of this paper on the page here to just bring it together for me before I make any decision. So if I lift this again and plunk this part under here. Yeah, I think that's good there. Okay. Now I think I might want to add the labels like this. I'm just going to move up a little bit here. Thrilling adventure. I'm just going to cut around the lines of this label. Okay. I think this needs to sit on something before it's added to this. What is it that I need to do? Maybe this. And I feel like we don't need such a large label here. We don't need this coppery color on the adventure part of this. So we'll set that aside here. Make like a little bit of a, you know what I want to do? I want to make like a more free-form kind of grungy label. So I'm just going to stick these down on here. Okay, so I think I want to do a little bit of thread bits maybe, because I have an idea. I want to do some stitching on this one, I think. And, oh, these gluey fingers. Okay. I'm gluing threads to my fingers. Maybe something like this, that like we're going to create our own freeform label. So I'm going to do some stitching around this. And then what I'm also going to do at the same time is to hide this Canada hockey stick and to add a little bit of freeform stitching, like a little nest down here that they're cozied into. I'm going to add these elements with the sewing machine. So I will be right back and then we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back. I have this label stitched around. And I stitched on the nest here. So now I'm going to kind of tear around the label here. I layered the parchment on top of some of the paper that I used in the background. Oops, I have to use scissors there to just kind of rough cut the bottom. Does not want to tear because of all these threads, and we have a little bit of wet glue still, so there we go. I'm just going to kind of rough cut a little and then tear a little so that I don't make the parchment paper angry. And okay. All right, so here we go. We have the thrilling adventure here. Then I'll just trim a little of this off because we don't want it to get too wild. So I still think it's a little bit too big. Cut a little closer to these threads. Okay. Just kind of thinking about how I feel about this. I think I like it. Okay. So let's glue this paper down. Just kind of throw a little more glue under this part of that label. Okay. And just hold it for a moment with my hand so that it can just fully stick. Okay. Mostly the threads are under control too. Okay, all good. All right, then I just want to add a little ink up here and also over the child. Just have him kind of mesh in a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now I think I will cut this to the size that I want, and also I just want to snip a couple of these black threads because I don't want the little duckling, or gosling, I keep calling it a duckling, it's a gosling, to be covered. Then I will trim this up around the postcard that I'm using as the base. Really nice to have that there as a guide. I can feel it with my scissors and cut right up against the edge. Okay, so let's just dump all these scraps away. Okay, so now we've got this. So cute. All right, now I want to add a bit of a snowy element to this. I'm really waiting on this glue to dry. this Fabri-Tac glue, I think. I need a little more right here to get this book page to stick down here. It's kind of a shiny book page on back, so it needs the silicone glue to really stick down well. There we go. Okay, so I just have a little bit of water here, and I'm just going to add a small amount of well, that's a little more than I wanted, but that's okay. A little bit of white paint. Just going to put all the lids back on the glues here. Get them out of the way for a bit. Then where is my paintbrush? Fan brush over here somewhere. I have a few too many things on my desk. I don't know where my fan brush is. Oh, here it is. Okay, right here. So let me just use this brush that I need to clean. I think I left it out yesterday maybe to just kind of mix this up a little. just a bit of acrylic paint and water. Okay, sorry, I had to change batteries in my camera for a moment there. So I just did one thing while I was in the gap because I figured there was no sense making you wait. I wanted to back and to stitch around this. So I just glued some vintage book page on back and stitched around it. Then I also made a slight design change. I took off a piece of this black coppery paper and I actually just replaced it with some light taupey color threads to just, I don't know, it felt too rigid and it felt like it was kind of blocking the flow of the geese. I don't know, there just wasn't something. I needed some kind of a more natural element between the hard lines of this label and this scene. It just needed something different. So I think that kind of ties it back together. The other thing that I want to do is add a recurring element that I've been using, which are these little gold leaves. So I want to pop one of those right there. And I'll do that with Fabri-Tac. Just glue the back of that on right here. Here we go. Then I want to add some little wintry snowy splatters, and I'm just going to cover up the faces of the geese so that we don't completely obliterate their faces. I think I'm okay with everything else. Okay, there we go. Whoopsies. Over here, paintbrush. Okay, so let's just lift these off. Okay, and then maybe just skid this little bit off of the text. Okay, so that's that. Let's move this piece of paper. And then because it has this coppery bit in it, I want to use again the Pebeo Renaissance Gold, which is a more coppery gold around the edges, which has been kind of a recurring theme in this series of ephemera I've been making. So let me just kind of roughly go around the edges here. Just going to keep it behind the stitching line just to frame it in a little bit. Being a little careful to not smoosh my snow. Okay. All right, what's that here? So there we go. I think this is finished now. So I'm pretty happy about it. I think it's really cute and I'm happy to use like an iconic Canadian bird. And yeah, that is my DEPHEMEREMBER Day 16 using wings and a label. So I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would love it if you did. I will put final photos of this work on Instagram once it's all dry. You can find me on Instagram as Studioloo as well. And I update there quite often. So I'd love it if you followed me there as well. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. You can find all my social media information down below in the description box. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.